Watching the 2024-25 SCAC Basketball Media Days. Today we're taking a dive into Southwestern University men's basketball program. The Pirates will once again be led as they head into the season under the guidance of head coach Kuykendall, along with leadership from senior Brock Luechtefeld. And Coach Brock, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Russell. Appreciate it.
Coach, we'll open things up with you. Heading into year 6 as the head coach of this Pirates men's basketball program there at Georgetown, I'm interested where you've seen the biggest growth within your program over these last 5 seasons. And, how excited are you to be back here at the start of year 6 and get ready to get things going with this group heading into the year?
Yeah, I think, from a on-floor perspective, I think we've gotten bigger, taller, and stronger. That's one of the things when I first got here. My style of play comparing to the previous style of play was definitely been an adjustment and trying to gel all that together. And so that's been one of our approaches these last few years with recruiting is trying to bring in some height, both inside and on the perimeter, but also with the guys we have here on campus is fully committing ourselves to the weight room, to our strength coach, and having growth in that area as well. And then now it's just obviously trying to find ways to utilize that to give ourselves the best chance to be successful. And that's what we've kind of also been trying to figure out this last year and a half, 2 years, how the best way to utilize it. And another thing too was, and not that the culture was ever bad here, we got great kids, but just making it fit who I am and making our expectation where we're going to be close on and off the floor, no matter senior all the way down to freshman year. You're going to have close relationships. I don't want cliques. I don't like any of that divisiveness in the program. And so I think if you look at our program, we've gotten bigger, we've gotten stronger. And I think off the floor, this group is extremely close, no matter where we're at, no matter what we're doing.
Brock, coming into this season, obviously it's a big year for you, your senior year, coming off an outstanding junior campaign. You're an all-SCAC honors. I'm just interested, what's the vibe been like with the boys? How is the team, as you start to get prepared to go into this season? What is this group excited about, and what are you looking forward to most heading into this season?
Yeah, the vibes have been great. Everyone's super close on the team, and we're really excited to obviously get to those first couple games. I think we're most excited for that first home opener. How can you not be? It's everyone's got it marked on their calendars, and we're ready to go.
Coach, as you look at this team, I remember, at this time a year ago, we sat here and talked. You talked about how it was going to be a young team going into last season, and you look at this season, you have that experience returning. I think 7 of 8 athletes that started multiple games for you returned this season. So tell us a little about this group. What have you learned about this version of this 24-25 Pirates basketball squad? What are some things that you've picked up from them, whether it be personality, their drive, their compete, things that you have noticed that give you confidence that this group is heading in the right direction to be ready for the start of the season?
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think we're still young. We only have 3 seniors. And, Brock here has played the most minutes of that group. So I think we're still trying to figure everything out, who we are, what this group's about. We brought in 7 new faces, both from the transfer portal, but also through high school. So we're still relatively new, guys figuring out roles, guys figuring out what's best suited for us to have the best position of success. But the one thing I can't stress this enough. What I do love is that our guys like to have fun. When we're off the floor, we know when it's time to turn it on and off, and we definitely enjoy being around each other, which I think makes it enjoyable. Last year, through the struggles, you could have come to watch our practice the last 2 weeks of the year when quote unquote there's nothing to play for in regards to postseason play. In our practices were energetic. Our guys were enjoying the time being around each other. Probably some days more than others, but for sure it made it where I was still excited to go to work, excited to be at practice with these guys. And so I think that's just kind of carried over. Our personalities carry the practice. Our personalities carry the team meetings. And we have a lot of those guys, and it's fun to be around this group. And so now it's just, can we put those the energetic approach and energetic atmosphere into now creating a consistent product on the floor. And that's what we're trying to work on.
Brock, I guess, what do you love most about being a college athlete? Coach talks about your experience, having played the most minutes. You've been a big part of this program. What have you grown to love about being a college basketball player, and why has being a part of this Southwestern men's basketball program kind of helped bolster and foster those loves as your career has gone on?
Yeah, I think the best part about being an athlete here at Southwestern is the community it sort of fosters. And that's not just with the men's basketball team, but our women's team and every other sport we have. I think everyone does a really good job of going out to support each other. We love going to the volleyball games and the soccer games and all that. And then being at Southwestern, I love my teammates. I feel like everyone's super close, and we have a really good group of guys here that love just hanging out with each other on and off the court.
Coach, you've talked about kind of the excitement of energy that this group has, being an experienced but yet still young and somewhat new squad. So for you, what's been the message to these guys early on in preseason? What are some things that you've been focusing on, whether it's things you feel are this team does well and you're trying to be great at, or maybe some things that, hey, we're trying to improve on based on what we've done over the last couple of seasons? What's kind of been that message to this group as you share them?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of buzzwords probably if you ask Brock, but I think the most used one, the most consistent one, ironically, is consistency. Is trying to, establish our level of expectations, whether that's practice, weight room, academic approach, on the floor, no matter what it is, games. Let's be consistent with our approach so that we can hopefully put ourselves in the best position to be successful. It's not about being perfect. It's not about winning every game. It's about, going into that last couple of minutes. Are you in the mix? I think that's where we fell short in a lot of areas last year. And that starts from the top down of just, being consistent in what we're supposed to do, from defensive execution to offensive execution to free throws to scout. No matter what it was, I think just the consistency. We showed flashes that we could compete with really good teams. And that's what's, I think, the most exciting thing we took from last year was, having a lot of close games with a lot of really talented teams in a league that I think is the best it's ever been. And then on top of that, getting a really fun and exciting win towards the end of the year. I think it shows that we were capable of competing at a high level. But the difference between really good teams to good teams to the teams towards the bottom of conference play is just usually a level of consistency in the execution. So we really tried to, I think, hone on that. Once again, I think for the most part, we're big and we're strong and we're trying to play physical. And I think our guys, even though banged up and injured, I think are understanding like that's what we're trying to establish from our expectation. But just try to be consistent with our approach every day. And that's still a work in progress. But it's not because of lack of commitment or lack of, or guys being selfish. It's just that's what we got to do and to challenge ourselves to compete at a high level. Just because we have a quote unquote, a good amount of returners coming back from last year doesn't mean that we're owed anything. Doesn't mean that our year is going to be better because of that. If you don't put the work in, you don't commit to what we want to do, then we're still going to be an up and down roller coaster ride. So that's really what we try to challenge our guys with. And so far, so good. They've had a great approach and a great mindset.
Brock, as we wrap up with you, when you've had conversations with some of your other teammates and leaders within this locker room about some of the goals and expectations going into this season, what have those conversations looked like? And ultimately, what do you see as being key for this group to accomplishing those things heading into the year?
So to start off with expectations, we want everyone to show up for everything. So, we have to start the year optional weight rooms. We like those to be even though they are optional, everyone should show up. You should be going hard all the time. Same with things like open gym and then practices. You've got to be going like 100% all the time and really come to those things prepared to go. In terms of goals, I think the team goal that we kind of talked about is making the SCAC tournament. We feel like making the tournament gives you a chance to win it. In a single game elimination style, we think we could beat anybody, and we'd like to make it there to be able to compete with that. Yeah.
And finally, Coach, wrapping up with you, obviously heading into this season, it's a special one for Southwestern being the final one, in the SCAC. And you can't tell the story of SCAC basketball without Southwestern. And certainly you, Coach, you've been a big part of this league now over a decade as a head coach in this league at multiple schools, won conference championships. So, when you've kind of reflected on what the SCAC means to you, what have kind of those reflections been like? Or what has the league meant to you and meant to Southwestern? And knowing that it's that last go around, is that something that you and your staff kind of have in the back of your mind to want to motivate you to make it the best as possible coming into this year?
Yeah, I don't think we've talked about it from that angle. I think obviously personally, this conference is definitely special to me in that this is kind of where I've been from a head coach perspective from the jump. And I think seeing the growth of the league over the last decade has been exciting, frustrating because our league's harder and it's harder to get wins now, but it's exciting to see the growth that the conference has made over the last decade. I've been very fortunate to coach a lot of great student athletes and like you said, 2 institutions in the conference, and been fortunate enough to have a little bit of success along the way. And so for me personally, I think it is bittersweet where there is something new, and that's always exciting. I think I joke between my playing days in the American Southwest Conference and my coaching days here in the SCAC. I've been in a lot of gyms in this state for many, many years, and so it's going to be exciting. Excuse me, to go to some new gyms that I've never been to. On the flip side, though, it is going to be different and unique and a little sad in a way of the inter-conference rivalries and the inter-conference the travel that you get used to over the years. So bittersweet. Obviously, we would love to compete going into our last year at a high level. Whether that's our last year or it's our first year, for me, I don't think we're worrying about that as much where we're at. But I do think that would be special looking back, if we're reflective on the end of the year. When if we were able to achieve some special stuff in our last year, that's going to be pretty cool and unique. I know that's not what we're talking about right now. For us, we're worried about ourselves and just getting ourselves ready to go. And the league's as good as it's ever been through expansion and just talent. And so we know we got a lot of hard games ahead of us. We're excited about it, and hopefully we can go out on a high note. But the conference has treated myself very well and has treated this university very well. So I know we'll still have those games with each other now, just in a unique non-conference style.
Southwestern University head men's basketball coach Connor Kuykendall, along with leadership from senior Brock Luechtefeld. The Pirates will open up the 2024-25 campaign when they take on University Incarnate Ward on November 8th. Coach Brock, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck as you head into the year.
Thank you.
Thank you.